Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the moon in conjunct Uranus in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in the natal chart. They're a little bit concise, and some people may refer to them as snappy. So what I decided to do is make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, well, if you have this aspect in your natal chart, there may be an adjustment, which is the inconjunct, may be needed between the emotional needs, which is the moon, and your goals and your aspirations, which is Uranus. Now, if Uranus is in Capricorn, say, goals and aspirations, may be tied into just as simply having structured discipline, career-related matters, or more, specific Capricorn fields, which can include dentistry, business, accounting, government, political work, information technology, masonry, carpentry, uh, architecture, construction as some examples. And the thing too is, and then the thing about this is you may have one or more, you know, one or more of these things may be emphasized when I say that there's an adjustment may be needed. There may be too much of that focus on the emotional needs and not enough on the attainment of goals and aspirations, or vice versa. Now, also too, there may be times, when you may either be exceptionally, emotionally, which is the moon, vested in your future, which is Uranus, and other times, you may not really express any kind of emotion or feeling toward it. You may be very apathetic regarding matters pertaining to your future, because, when you have an inconjunct, it's a lot of, vacillation, distortion of energy. And if you have your Uranus in Aquarius as an example, that future may be tied into astrology, astronomy, computers, electronics, innovation, meteorology, aviation. It could be humanitarian or altruistic endeavors, doing things for the collective good. The future may be tied into just simply blending in with a group, as opposed to standing out or shining, so to speak. Uh, Another thing about the moon in conjunct Uranus in the natal chart is that you may at times really emphasize the home and introversion, which is the moon, and it could be to the expense of simply integrating and ingratiating yourself in society, which is Uranus, or the other way around. Sometimes there may be too much, matters pertaining to your home, introversion, introverted activities, and not devoting enough of your time to society and getting out in the world in general. Or there may be times where you may express too much freedom of home and be out, trying to integrate, merge with society, and not devote enough time to home and introverted matters. And if Uranus is in Sagittarius, as an example, you may, integrating in society, may be tied into doing things connected with publishing or advertising or printing press operation, or it may simply be having a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm, in doing so. So as far as getting out, with others, with society, with groups, with clubs, organizations, as some examples. Now, another way the moon in conjunct Uranus can manifest in the natal chart is that it can be where you may be really dominated, by activities, with the mother and family, which is the moon, or your objectives, which is Uranus, one or the other, may be, overemphasized, over accentuated, so to speak. May there may be such where you may put so much time in, with the mother, your family, and it's to the detriment of pursuing objectives, or you may be so dominated by pursuing your objectives, and it could be to the expense of activities That could be with the mother, with your family in general. Um, if Uranus is in Scorpio, as an example, those objectives may be tied into deep research, locksmithing, psychology, the occult, which includes astrology. It could be something with forensics, investigation, embalming. Doing. It could be moving toward being a surgeon or a coroner, as some examples. And the thing about the moon in conjunct Uranus in a natal chart, another way that this may be expressed is that you may either intensely nurture and care, which is the moon, for your friends, which is Uranus, or at times you may simply be oblivious to them and not have any desire to care about them. It might appear that you don't care at all. It might appear that you might be rather cold and callous in those matters that are pertaining to your friends. And let's say, we'll go to Uranus and Pisces, as an example. Those friends may actually be Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be people that are forgiving, compassionate, altruistic, sacrificing, maybe nebulous and unclear as well. Could also be people that are deceptive and elusive. If Uranus is in Aquarius, those friends may be those that are eccentric, unorthodox, ingenious, unusual, considerate, unobtrusive, but maybe very unpredictable and erratic, as well, very non-conforming or rebellious, as some examples. Now, another thing too, as far as how this aspect may be expressed in the natal chart, there may be times when you may be very enamored with expressing, ingenuity, innovation, which is Uranus, in the home, which is the moon, and other times you may be completely averse to it. Now, if Uranus is in Aquarius, ingenuity may be expressed through something with computers or electronics or astronomy. It might be, it could also be, let's take another example. If Uranus is in Libra, that ingenuity may be expressed through some form of art, artistry in the home. It might be through some form of home decoration, as some examples. Now, another thing too is that if you have the moon in conjunct Uranus in your natal chart, is that there may be times when that unconscious side, which is the moon, may be strongly expressed to people in groups, clubs, and organizations, which is Uranus. And other times, it may be non-existent, and it may be harder, to that energy may not, be expressed at all for whatever reason. If you have, let's say if the moon is in Gemini, that unconscious side, maybe one that's very mercurial, loquacious, versatile, multifaceted, talkative, well-rounded, but very changeable, as well, restless, maybe contradictory even. And another thing too about this aspect is that sometimes you may really intensely express that unique side, which is Uranus, to those that are either close to home with, which is the moon. And then other times you may not express it at all. Now, the Uranus going to Libra, as an example, again, that unique side may be through some kind of art. It may be, scales, well, maybe something connected with balance, as some examples. It could be where, if you have Uranus and Capricorn, it might be, that unique side may be somehow tied in, to one's business, one's career. Maybe it has to do, with doing something And as far as, Capricorn is connected, with structure and construction, building, things, building, having an idea for building something, but very unique, in the process. So those are some ways that this aspect may manifest and pan out. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.